I'm back with part 2 of my arty vessel type stitch thing, and I've got an array of things because this is the exciting bit to me, is doing all this extra stitching. So what I've amassed here is lots of pearl cottons that I've got in different greens, which I'm sure I'll be using all of them at some point. I have got the pieces of that stuff that I painted, so they've dried and I'm sure I'll be using them. I have some actual silk ribbon which I bought a while ago as a treat to myself, and I've just painted them up with my Inktense in various shades of purpley, bluey, green, and if I need to paint more I will, but the rest of it's unpainted. I've got the silk. I have some net off an old, like a vintage top that was broken, was torn, and I've torn the rest of it out and I've painted the net up because it was cotton. It wasn't modern. So that cotton net's been painted the same colours as I've done the ribbon. I've got the lovely pearl cottons I used last time. I've got the wool sleeve of an old cardigan and some various bits of cheesecloth and wool and just everything at my disposal that I might have. And so I'm just going to get a start. And I've threaded up a big eye and a sharp point with some green pearl cotton. Anyway, and I'm now ready to start. So where I left it last was, I've got it stitched together. I now want to do some of the encrusting before I can decide where the bark's going to go. And I'm just going to start putting stuff on. So I've got a bit of the spare silk here. I think I'm going to just crease it up, and maybe I'll just cut it to a point there. And I'm just going to crease it up, start halfway up. I'm not sure at the moment how far up or anything's going to go. I'm sure it's actually going to be create as I go. I'm going to leave that little tuft off there and start and put, I think with feather stitch. I really like feather stitch. I'll just start. Maybe I don't actually need a stitch at all. Oh, feather stitch it is. And just catch this silk in to start and build up some textural sort of an elements. And I'm going to just come down to where I know the base is. I think I want some of this wool in here, so I'm going to actually cut that off. Don't want to waste my silk if I don't need to. I'm going to cut that off, crease it in, start with my wool, carry on stitching through. And I know I'm covering up some of my other stitching, and that's actually fine by me. It's all to add, so I'm going to twist this and sort of crease it up. I'm maybe thinking of moss as I go. This was of a cashmere cardigan that had moth holes in it. It actually was far too small for me. It was thrifted in the first place. And I cut the sleeves off to use them for something. and then immediately regretted it and made the cardigan short-sleeved and embroidered round where I'd cut the sleeves off. And this is the last sleeve I've got from it. Oh, I'm quite liking that. I just go down, stitch through. It's a lovely shape. Maybe I want to blur the line between the two things, so I'm just going to carry on twisting. As if the whole thing's been encrusted. Put that down there. I'd quite like to put some French knots or bullion knots or something in there, but I've also got some silk waist here, and I think that would also look lovely on. And I'll be finishing nearly all of this on the top because I don't want to keep turning my thing inside out, so I'll just be hiding the finishings. And sometimes, as in here, I'm going to leave the little tails because I feel as if I might like them. Maybe I'll not waste my thread at all. I'll leave a loop, secure it, and leave it. I can always cut them back later. Keep my pincushion near. So I've got this is the silk waist I've got. And I feel like I can definitely put some of this on. I feel that's too bright at the moment. But I do like this. I'll just pull it apart. These quite often come in fibre packs, and I've got one or two over the years from the Harrogate Stitching Show. And I've used them bits and pieces in the past, but I haven't used a huge amount with that, so I think that's really nice to go in there. So I need something to put that on with, and I'm going to choose this one. So really I just need to couch this down somehow. It's going to pull right in, I think. Maybe that bit of net. I like the way that's forming. I'm just going to do a bit of freeform fly stitch up here. Just over the top of what's gone before. And maybe down the middle of this bit of a fold, quite like some a bit like some bullion knots. Definitely wasn't thick enough, so not bullion knots. Some blanket stitching. And a bit of chain stitch coming back upwards. Going to get some bullion knots on here. I'm going to do 8 wraps. I might need them bigger, I'm not sure. Just hold them down while I pull through and then pull them over and ease them in. I might do a little few of them. I'm just going to keep doing these bullion knots. I might make them more long so I can be making them a bit loopy. Let's see if this one goes loopy. Almost, but not quite. Put a few more wraps on and see what happens. Not bad. Do another big long one up there. About 20 wraps on here now. I can pull it through. There it goes. That's a nice one. And I'll finish off with a... Oh! Pulled my blooming thread out again. It's a very loose French knot, but that suits me at the moment. So I'm going to put sort of feel like I want some of this on already. Oh, now I can lead that up towards there because I've sort of got a spiral thing going on. So let me see, I need to put something in my needle. I'll put a smaller, I think I'll put a smaller needle on. No, I won't, I'll keep this needle on. I'm going to put into the needle some ribbon. Let me see, one of the smaller ones. Well, this has ended up with a bit of purple at the end, but that's okay. Just do a quilter's knot on it, which is round the needle a couple of times, and then pull the needle through. Come up from the back. And then I'm going to fly stitch, but I'm going to do it over this painted stuff. And then move somewhere else. And sort of looks like branches or roots. Maybe I'll do something like a pistol stitch, so it's like a French knot on the end of a stick. I can pull down through the whole thing. I can't really see that. I don't want to waste my ribbon where it's not seen. Oh, it's come up there by mistake, so I'm actually going to just take a big stitch along it. Pull this one in. Well, I like the way that's sort of made that look more like it's coming through. And I'm going to lead this up it back into here. Just doing a loose stem stitch. And a bit of a loose running stitch right the way up. Just going through and over the top of what I've gone on before. And I'll lead it right up into this piece here. I'm going to leave the end loose. I may want that or I may not. Actually, that's starting to look like something. I'm putting, quite like this net. want to crumple that up onto there and stitch it with I think a bit of this greeny blue. Actually, I'm going to use all of that I've got left. Going to use it as it is with all 6 strands, and I think I'd like to be either French knotting it. We try a big French knot. Sort of want a little cluster of them, I think. Just cut that out a little bit. And just put this little cluster of French knots. I actually would like this to look a bit like lichen, which is why I've used this bluey green. I think I'll do something like, I don't know, like cast on stitch or something, so that I can do a bit of needle lace. So I'm just going to gather that up there a bit. I love the way it all just creases up and makes these lovely creases, and just looks really nice. Doing sort of 5 wrap French knots, but I'm sort of not bothered if they end up a bit loose. And it's keeping the net down really nicely. Do one on a stalk there. That's worked well. I'll do another one. Five wraps. Set the little stalk where you want it to go and pull the knot down just like normal. And then maybe just some normal straight stitches. I think I'll try and keep this a little bit clear. I'd like to have open areas as well as textual areas, or else there'll be no contrast. Just put this last little one on here. And I'll come down and finish off in among this. I'll anchor that down with something else. I might just take this up here a bit. I'll turn round. Oh, I think I need to do some fly stitch. Actually do the ribbon again. Or maybe this. Sort of a golden variegated pearl. I definitely want some of this to go up here, so I'm not quite sure. Just pull it apart. I'm going to start with my thread coming through right to the top. I'm going to fly stitch this on, but then get it around here so you can't really see where I've joined the two sides together. And let me just have a look here. Hold that edge in. That's going to be really nice. I think that's going to make quite a good little glint of colour coming through. And I've just caught down that ribbon end, which is good. I'll turn round, come through that. I'm just feather stitching it in. Don't have to feather stitch the whole thing, just have to catch it enough for it to go the way I want it to go. I'll just keep turning round until I can hold it how I like. I hope this seems interesting to you. Because I just sort of had to do it. So I quite like this little tail of silk. Maybe I want it to come up the middle. I think I do. And just fold it in a bit. And I'll hold it down with another stitch. I think this is all about just going with the flow. Just seeing where things need to take you. If it looks right, you do it, and if it doesn't look right, while you stitch over it, you probably don't take it apart, you just put more stuff on. That's what I think anyway. I don't think I will take any of this away. In fact, it's not something I like, I'll just keep going until I do like it. It's nice to actually get to the bit I've been waiting to do, which was all of this is the stuff I had in my head to actually make. So again, just feather stitching down, which is just like little blanket stitches that are joined together really. I've got the one coming up from the bottom, which is there, and then this one to come inwards. I really like that tail bit there. I'll hold those two together and then I can just make a blanket stitch across, which will keep them down like that. I think I'd quite like that to look loose. Whoops. Just going to fly stitch over my other fly stitch so it builds up the texture. And I'm right down to my wool again. Maybe I can just do some quite loose stitches. Maybe I want that end to be hidden. I don't want to see the raw edge. I'll hide it under that bit of net and the blue and just tack it down. And then stitch this over the top. So it looks like it's growing from within the middle rather than being lumped on. I'll get right back up to this top bit again. I'm going to go further up and just get these pieces sort of pull them apart a bit. It's quite nice, this stuff. I don't actually know what it is. It's not like I've been involved in this type of a thing before. Coming right up, making sure that's held down. And I'll continue. Maybe I'll just put a blanket stitch on that edge. and it's starting to look the business. I think I want some definitely want some moss in here, so I think I'll stitch some moss. I'm going to go to a fine needle and this thread, I might actually get so far along and then have to work on another bit and then sort of bring it all up at the same time. Just realised my hands are all dyed off the using the paint. This one or this one? Actually, I've just realised I think I've got some velvet I could use to make moss. I'm going to couch this down first. I'm going to get some out. In fact, I don't need to cut it off. I'll work with it off the thing so I'm not wasting any. I'm going to come into here. And I'm just going to loop it and couch it down. And keep taking a loop and catching it in to make a sort of a textural surface. It looks really nice, this cotton. And loop it up, stitch again, loop it up, loop a few. In the end, I don't know how I'm catching them down. I just put my needle in and hope I catch them, and if I don't, I put another stitch in. You can't actually see, once you've pulled the stitch down, you can't see it anymore. I'm going to do that right along, right up to the bottom here, so I've got a little mossy hummock. And quite easy to put in, just looping it up. I'll stitch into the middle and I can catch some of the longer ones down if I think they're too long. And come along the bottom. I'm actually going to look for the bit of velvet that I think I've got. So I've had a bit of an idea while I've been stitching this that I've got some velvet. And I've got a feeling I've got something that can look like the seed capsules of the moss. So I might be going away to find that when I've just done this bit. Right, I'll cut that off. I think I've got enough there. I think that looks like a mossy bit. But I'm definitely going to go and look for the thing I've just remembered about. Just going to keep taking some stitches into here. Don't want to take thread out of my needle. Once it's in, I might as well use it. I'm taking some stitches through here so that I know that it's stitched on. Work my way up here. It's just some running stitch. I feel as if I need more feather stitch here. I'm going to look for a different colour. See, I didn't think I wanted bright colours, but now that I can see this blue and the little bit of purple and the bright green, maybe. I like that. That's silk. I'm going to take that. This is silk from that my sister brought back from Turkey, and she visited a carpet factory and she asked whether she could have some of the waste, and she brought it back for me, and it was in such a big tangle. I spent ages sorting it out until I could get pieces that I could wind on. And some were just little tiny bits and some were big bits. So if you go to Turkey, anyone, you go to a carpet factory, if you ask them, they'll probably give you the silk. You can see I could split that down even into really individual, so many threads there. But I'm going to use it as it is. I'm going to put a big knot in it, but I'm going to leave the knot on the surface as well. Am I? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. No, I'm not actually. So I'm going to come up there. And I'm going to feather stitch right the way down into here. And just go over the top of everything that I've already got on. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm clearing my throat. Still that cough. Getting over that cough a little bit. I keep feeling it's when I'm talking and I need to clear my throat again. Look at the shine that's brought there. That's lovely. As I get down to this piece here, I don't necessarily want to take my feather stitch into that, not just over the top. I'll have to look at it. Oh, that's a lovely bit of shine there though. I think I'd like to do one more there. Lead it down into the net. And then I'm going to come up here and just do another little bit. I keep getting knots. I think it's just the nature of what it is. It's not really sewing silk. Actually, it would be good as a drizzle stitch, this. Might actually do some drizzle stitching with it. See, I'm just going to get some extra feather stitches in now, and when I put the next piece on my needle, I'll do some drizzle stitch. Oh, I really like that. Going in among these bullion knots. Oh, look at that. This is when I can start to see what I'm what I've been aiming for. Stitch that into there. Beautiful. Come up and I'll just, I'm not going to just end, just put quite a long stitch here. There's no point wasting silk underneath. And I'm going to drizzle stitch it now. And drizzle stitch is, especially if you've got, I see how I've got 2 threads there. Oh, there's actually a lot more than that. There's quite a lot of threads. But if you wind them away from the way they usually do, you can keep winding and winding with your needle like this. And it's just like if you were twisting your fabric twine, you sort of get a twist going. But you can see if I hold it there like that and then I let go, I'm getting a twist. So I'm just going to over twist this entirely. I'm going to use this whole piece. I haven't really got very much left in my needle. So I'm just going to keep twisting against the grain or against the twist it's already got. I'm going to put loads of twists on it. And then let it twist up. I'm going to put even more on. And let it twist up. And then stitch it down. And it just gives this lovely 3D stitch. Just can't get that through. I actually like this. I don't want to cut that off now. I really like that. What can I do? What can I do? I am going to cut it off. And what I do, I'll stitch it down from the front. I'll get some of my other thread. That's really nice. That was by accident. I'll just stitch this down to secure it because I've actually cut the back off it now. So I'll stitch it in. Just go through the twists and we'll secure it. Like that, it's already secure. Found it go tight to the fabric. And the ends of these silks, oh, that's gorgeous. So I'll just come up here, catch it a little bit so it's not standing quite as much away. And I think I'll do a bullion knot here. It'll take ages because this is really fine. Right, I'll do that. Hold it in. Ease it off, pull it through. And stitch it down. Just stem stitch up there. Just surface stitching, I'm not even going through onto the underneath. do, maybe I need to take this up a bit more. I think I'm leaving this empty for the moment. I'm going to bring this along here, I think. Take something along here. So I'm going to start with this pearl cotton, just a plain one, in my big needle. And I feel if I start up here, I'm going to lead the feather stitch down into this bit here. So I'll just do wherever I feel, however many little stitches on one side and then on the other. Just see if they're looking right. I think I want them to be a bit more upright. I'm stitching into the blanket, so this is securing my silk to the underneath at the same time. Right down to the bottom. And then, let's see, what shall I do with the rest of this? I shall, I don't know, put a few bullion knots on. What else are you going to do with some pearl cotton? At least I've learned that I need more than just the odd few wraps. Putting sort of 15 or 20 on each time. Okay, I need some, I feel as if I want to do something up the top, but at the moment I'm not quite sure what's going on there, so I'm going to carry on working around here. I'll cut another piece of wool. I really like the way that went in. I'm just cutting a strip off the sleeve. It's actually circular. Cut it open and then I can twist it as I like. I left that on because it's caught onto the end of the thing, end of the thread. Just thought, well, it's just telling me it needs to be used. I'll just couch it down as I go. All right, start with the wool. Start with the other end. Put a bit of a point on, I think. Seems easier to start off with than a straight edge. Going through into the wool backing. And just catching this as I can do. Just like I did before. Just sort of making it do something and catching it down. Creasing in. Just looking to see if it's going to make a really nice shape. And as soon as there's a shape there that I like, I put my needle through. quite like the end of that coming through. I'm going to put it inside that wool so that I'm catching the edge down at the same time. Then the little end can peep up. I'll just roll that up there, and it's sort of going to stand proud. I might do more of that actually. I'll just secure the roll so I know it's not going to unwind. Just stitch into the back of it. And I just lead this thread, which is nearly out. Ooh. Finish it off with a few overcast stitches on the top, because it all just adds to everything. Just have to keep it in my head of how I want it to look. I think this side is looking pretty decent. I'm going to leave that for the moment. I do want to put more on, but I feel as if I need to carry on round here. Well, things are definitely moving forward with this. I'm really pleased with the way that this is getting sort of textural and 3D. You know, I'm always going on about that when I do my embroideries. I like to bring texture and fabric manipulation into things where I can. And so I really like the way this is. There's a lot to be done on here yet. And I have just started to do around the corner, but I can see my way forward with it, and I still haven't sorted out the bark yet, but I feel as if I know how that's going to go. And so I'm going to just leave it at that for this week, because otherwise the video would be like 4 hours long, or even longer, because once I start I find it hard to just stop. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that, bringing this thing forward. I'm just calling it a thing. I don't actually know what to call it yet. I think I'm going to call it a stitched vessel. It's not quite going to be a vase, is it? Unless I actually just put a glass jar in there and then put flowers or grasses in, which is a possibility. But I feel as if I'm just keeping it as sort of an art thing. And I am intending it to be standing on my mantelpiece too. So that's it for this week. And I do hope that you're enjoying watching the creative process that's bringing this to life, because yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just thank you for watching. Thanks for visiting Marion's World, and thanks for all the comments and the support that you give me here, Instagram, Ko-fi, everywhere. Thank you everyone, and with that I'll just say bye from Marion's World, and I look forward to next time you drop by. Bye everyone.